what's going on.
I'm going to achieve what no one in the Order, not even the all-powerful Titus Braithwaite, could. Immortality.
Hi y'all, it is your favorite nerdy girl here, Nerdy Girl Reviews, and we are back with Lovecraft Country on HBOMax. If you've guessed it, you can tell, not exactly on point, but reminiscent of our devil, or she-devil, Christina, from the series. So we'll get into this, but stay tuned also if you would like to see how I got into this getup minus the makeup. Hit the link before this one on my YouTube channel. Also, if you'd like to keep in touch, you can find me on YouTube, and if you'd like to see my other recaps, I'm available on Sofritoforyoursoul.com. Stay tuned. I love this. I love the soundtrack.
What you keep me guessing? Will you ever be mine? Devil or angel, please say you'll be mine.
Alright, y'all. I know I'm coming to the party really, really late. A year late. But better to be fashionably late, right? I don't even know where to begin with this series. This is incredible work. From soundtrack to storytelling to the breakdown of history. This is amazing work. This is the type of work that I have been saying, I've been mentioning on a number of my reviews. I don't want to know. I seriously do not want to anticipate how things are going to end. And this was such a crazy roller coaster ride. You really don't know what you're getting yourself into. I was like, okay, Lovecraft Country, let's check this out. And I have been putting it off because, again, I know it came really well recommended. Oh my god, it blew my socks off. Like 10 episodes. I binged them, so I was lucky that, because I don't think I could have honestly waited an episode per weekend. No, it's just too good. It's just too good, from casting to the executive producers. Jordan Peele, J.J. Abrams is involved. I mean, this is such an incredible story. Lord have mercy. Let's get into that whole thing, and also how tragically we're not going to get a second season. Why? What? Why? This is it. This is like true storytelling that will knock your socks off, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it, and I will rave about this and each corner that I can. Amazing, amazing work. And to their showrunner, I don't want to get her name wrong, Misha Green. Lady, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of the brilliance that you are, that you brought to this show. Bravo, mija. Because seriously, I know I'm fangirling, and that's a good portion of what I can contribute to this video. But okay, let's get into the critical analysis. The casting. All African American actors. Amazing, amazing. We have our leading lady, Journey Smollett. Like, I've been a fan of hers since Eve's Bayou. Okay, this is physical proof. I've said these are my gems, tapes, VHS. Yes, I still have them. No, I can't watch them because everything's online. But that, I knew she was a young talent then, and she has paid her dues since this movie, and she was brilliant as a little girl in this particular movie. And this was like our first taste of that. You know, Eve's Bayou. You know, we have an idea of what Southern life is, the music, the richness of culture, of food, of religion, of, you know, spiritualism. It was all in this movie. I feel like, you know, we always have to also take into consideration the predecessor so we can acknowledge and praise the successor. This was phenomenal. And seeing her now as a grown-up doing this leading lady role, she was phenomenal. She was just like the heroine that like just came out of nowhere, you know, comes from a checkered past and has a very checkered kind of like family situation with her only sibling. No, I'm sorry, she has two siblings. She has a brother and a sister. They don't get along. She's the black sheep. She's gotten away with a lot of stuff. So, you know, they all kind of have her, you know, in that category, like, oh, we don't talk about her. Until she comes, you know, rolling back into this particular area. And she's in need. She's always in need of some kind of break. She needs some kind of money. She's always in some kind of trouble. And then her sister Ruby is the one that always has to bail her out. So, just a quick synopsis. The first season of Lovecraft Country is based on the novel of Matt Ruff. It follows Atticus Freeman. He's our leading man. Very good looking man. Wow. Physique, he's pumping that iron, honey, played by Jonathan Majors, as he embarks on a road trip through 1950s Jim Crow America with his friend Letitia, played by Journey Smollett, and his uncle George Courtney B. Vance, I believe I'm pronouncing right. Along the way, the group encounters racist terrors and horrifying monsters as they search for Atticus's missing father, played by Michael Kenneth Williams. You know, we're familiar with his character. We're familiar with his face. If he looks familiar and you're familiar with Boardwalk Empire, he played Chalky White. Obviously, those are two different particular moments in time, eras, but nonetheless, I give him so much credit too. I think he's a phenomenal actor. Something in his face, aside from, you know, I think we've heard the stories of how he got the scar on his face. In real life, he I don't know. There's very few actors, I will say, that I realize that they're acting, but there's a sincerity that they bring to the character, very much like this particular actor. When he frowns, oh my god, your heart breaks. No matter what dialogue is coming out of their mouth, it's like, oh my god, like it seems so sincere and heartbreaking at the same time. Phenomenal work. I really recommend this series. The only other person I believe that conjures that kind of like feel for me is Jonathan Groff. He has that ability to, like, just that sincerity comes through, that your empathy kind of outpours, like, for them, like, oh my god. Ingenue Ellis, who plays our main character's aunt because of their uncle, right? I recognized her from True Blood, and then I forgot that Journey also was on True Blood, so kind of a little bit of a reunion, I guess. But I clocked her quickly. I said, oh, that was the vampire from, like, I think it was it season 1? Wow, it's been so long. But again, True Blood was another great on HBO. So yes, I recognized her from then. And I want to say for these characters, so the Uncle George, the Aunt Hippolyta, Atticus, and Letitia, and also Ruby. What an incredible cast of characters. this was the focus, the main focus I want to say for this series is highlighting like true talent. These folks were mathematicians, they were astrologers, they were scientists, and somehow it's a mismatch between sci-fi, horror, thriller. Like, that's why I said I think it's a remarkable story, because you really don't know how to clock any of this. Even though it's reminiscent of like maybe Indiana Jones and the Goonies, it is so not, because it's also terrorizing. Like, certain scenes are like, and then witchcraft goes into this. So there's a bloodline here of commonality between Atticus and then our evil demon she-devil, Christina, played by Abby Lee Crenshaw. And then she has this, like, we don't know if it's her brother, her lover. They look near identical. Icy blue eyes, blonde hair, blonde hair, much blonder than this. A character named William, who falls in love with our Ruby character, who is the sister to Letitia. And they're very reminiscent of like Children of the Corn, kind of blonde, which I don't know if it was done intentional. Jordan Peele loves all these, like, you know, small nuggets that are reminiscent of something else and that will trigger that, like, I remember that, or that looks like this, but so not. So they have the bloodline of, so I believe our she-devil is daughter to, he goes, I believe, on the show as the name of Samuel, but he's actually Adam from Adam and Eve. And this is where we go from religion to Christianity to horrors and history. He wants to go back to the Garden of Eden and be immortal. And she's not accepted because she's a female. So automatically she's knocked. His daughter is knocked because she's female. She's not a part of this little grouping of what they are. And so she seeks revenge for that. So she is able, and one of like these conjuring spells, and it almost seems like it's going to happen for Adam. It doesn't follow through. And because Atticus is gifted this particular ring, and his own sorcery kind of pours out of his fingertips, Samuel turns into stone. So, and even reaching all these levels of acknowledgement or enlightenment, they're still met with history. And that's what I love about the story, because actual history is woven into the story. It's not a prop. It's not kind of like left over as an afterthought. It's interwoven and critical to each episode. Stories that are factual, and history that is a part of the fabric of the United States. Tulsa, 1921, Emmett Till, all these atrocities, the Jim Crow era, all of this is important. And so I feel like my review is kind of also coming at a good time when this country is very much still over the battle of letting that information be known. So there's a huge debate currently over critical race theory. Pundits and politicians have created their own definition for the term and then set about attacking it. They don't want this information to be known, and it's very much ingrained in how the country administers itself, either via laws or entertainment that we consume, the American psyche, like I've mentioned in other videos. And for some reason, Republicans are not in favor of this information being known, even if it's interwoven and through art, which I've always said art is a great tool to educate, to let other generations, new generations, know history of themselves. So just the fact that that is ingrained in this particular series was incredible. Like I am just my I am my the socks are just completely like knocked off just how was so well written, directed, shot beautifully. You know, the emphasis on black culture and history. There are instances of Josephine Baker. There's instances of even Frida. These are major roles that people of color played into the history, the fabric of the United States. Should be known. I also give them credit to how they were able to also mix contemporary. We heard a couple of songs mixed with this particular era in this show, 1950s, but it was still so very relatable to what we were seeing. And side note, if they were given a second season, this would have gone perfectly. Here's a quote from The Atlantic, with the critical race debate. The Republican operatives who dismiss the expositions of critical race theorists and anti-racists in order to define critical race theory and anti-racism and then attack those definitions are effectively debating themselves. They have conjured an imagined monster to scare the American people and project themselves as the nation's defenders for that fictional monster. The evangelist Pat Robinson recently called critical race theory monstrous evil, and over the past year the monstrous evil has supposedly been growing many legs. That would have been perfect for season 2, and I'm not 100% sure. From what I gather, they just might be moving the show somewhere else where people are more open to it. I'm very surprised that HBO did not jump on this. You had 7 seasons of True Blood. What is the problem here? Was it too real? I get a feeling that's what it was. It was just too real for some executives, and somebody had to like nip it. And then we wonder why. But you're missing out. You are so missing out. Black Panther alone is living proof that you are missing out of those dollars. Side note, I don't think I'll ever see this song or hear or think of this song in the same way after I saw that episode. You know what I'm referring to. Stilettos. So that's what I will say. Like, but how it was included into this episode, it went perfect. I will say though, there are issues of colorism that gets also showcased in this this series. I believe there is a little bit of that. That's the reason why I believe that the sisterhood between Ruby and Letitia also, there's a lot of like ingrained pain that's very much involved in this union between them both. Ruby's complex of also this desire, and you can't blame her at that point in era and time. You that was the aim. You wanted to be white to just feel human. They made you feel inhuman. Jim Crow and Jim Crow etiquette. Google that. It's jarring. And how they don't teach us this. They don't teach us this. You know, unless like you like go to college and you major in it and you actually find your resources sometimes on your own. It's amazing to me what is out there and what this country has really done to African Americans, to black culture. But the best thing I will say, how it ends, okay, that it really culminates and it brings it back to what the essence of the story is, which is magic. And I'll leave it with this.
You got me from that.
Not just you. Every white person in the world.
You gonna save them all. And Hannah's spell. It's gonna change everything, baby.
Our family has protected the book for generations. Now, that falls to you.
Magic is ours now.
And we have Black Girl Magic. She strips that evil hooker from all magic and all white people as well. I mean, it just tells you too, like, the genius behind this story. Honestly, it deserves it on. How was it not nominated of the Yin Yang? It really has so many great gems in this series. It was so well written. We also have some background of Atticus when he was at the Vietnam War, and also the introduction of Japanese culture. Also, she's ingrained into the story, and she's the one that foresees like how Atticus, meets his demise. But I'm not gonna spoil it. I mean, it's been a year, so I'm sure a number of people have seen it already. If you haven't, please watch it. It's on HBO Max. I don't know how they are letting this writer escape, because this could honestly benefit if they would have invested in the season 2. I'm hearing that she may be moving to Apple Plus, but you're missing out on this money, on this shmoney. It's so well recommended, though. I can't boast about it enough. I'm also gonna leave links